critical theory, and more specifically, critical race theory, or CRT, have been identified as the source of racial tension and polarization. There are campaigns to purge society and Christian organizations and institutions of its contaminating influence. In some states, legislators are passing laws limiting and in some cases eliminating the teaching of Black history because it is viewed as divisive and a tool of CRT. Then there are the sound bites from the 24-hour news channels, prominent social media influencers, bloggers, and Christian leaders all denouncing and condemning critical race theory. But what exactly is critical race theory? What can we learn? What should we denounce and why? Untangling critical race theory is a call to step back and take a close look at CRT. I think you will find Chapter 6 especially helpful. And consider, as followers of Christ, how we should respond. These pages also underscore an appropriate caution. Anger and fear have a way of clouding our perspective and pulling us toward misrepresentation. Fundamentally, to be Christian is to pursue truth. Throughout the pages of this book, we are reminded that our critique of CRT must be honest and fair, and rightly so. This is a clear call and challenge for followers of Christ to seek to understand and to represent with integrity that with which we may disagree. I have known Ed Uszynski for more than 30 years. Ed writes from the vantage point of a deep, abiding commitment to biblical orthodoxy, a personal commitment to evangelism and discipleship, deep, meaningful relationships and friendships across ethnic lines, and a comprehensive exposure to and study of critical race theory. He's not an armchair theorist. He writes from this rich background with compelling credibility. Both head and heart are in these pages. Perhaps you may not agree with all that Ed says or concludes, but I believe you will be drawn to his clarity and your thinking will be provoked. I love the subtitle of this book, What Christians Need to Know and Why It Matters. This is a clear statement of the mission of the book, and in my view, my dear friend, more than delivers. I felt better equipped and even anchored after reading it. But in a wonderfully strange way, I felt recommissioned, and I think you will too. Understanding what gave rise to critical race theory should put the spotlight on compassion and motivate followers of Christ to do what should have been done. Thank you, Ed, for calling us to be portraits of the solution. Introduction. Why we need another book on race. In my entire adult life, I don't think America's dialogue about race has been as toxic as it is today. Extremists dominate, pushing us into ever more polarized ideological corners. If you live in right-wing space and spend time talking about contemporary racism or the ongoing, persistent consequences of centuries of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, and segregation, extremists will quickly label you woke. And no one should listen to anyone woke. If you live in left-wing spaces and you push back against emerging anti-racist ideologies that sometimes declare the nation foundationally evil, engage in their own forms of gross racial stereotyping, including unremitting hatred for whiteness, and seek to defund and discredit policing itself, extremists will quickly label you racist. And no one should listen to anyone racist. David French, When Our Forefathers Fail. Some emails I've received. The messages I see being pushed forward within our ministry have not been for oneness, but are clouded with power and have caused separation and division. My radar goes up when I hear words like oppressed, oppressor, and victim when it comes to race. They are words of power and control with an agenda attached. Today, it's not just white privilege, but amped up to white supremacy. It seems to me there's nothing a white person can do to help fight racism. I'm concerned that we're slipping towards the heresy of liberation theology, if not in our statement of faith, then in our practice. We're moving forward a position and practice of the gospel only being the gospel if it moves us to action on the social justice front. These are all snippets of emails from